Hero 6 comes to life because Hero drops something on his foot, a part of that little robot, which that robot was awesome. Like you said, he clearly hustled the bigger guy, and he ended up clearly losing that fight real easily to begin with, just so he can up the money. Which reminds me of pool sharks, right? This is how pool sharks do it. They go to a pool place, they lose a couple games in really garbagey fashion. They get someone, they start talking smack to somebody, they get someone to throw up a whole bunch of money, and then they run the table. And that's exactly what happened here. He got cut in half. They were able to put his bot back together because it was magnetic servos. And then he just turns on Bruce Lee style, and he whoops him. He's spinning around him. The parts are coming apart, and they're all fighting individually, and then they're going back together. And he rips the arm off of the robot and has that arm destroy the other arm. It was really pretty cool. And I'm all over the place now because I just love this movie so much. I don't even know where to start or end. But, you know, after that happens, Tadashi's the one who saves him. They go to the conference. He meets the guy who invented these servos, which is Dr. Callahan, who's like his idol and Tadashi's idol. And basically he's going to this conference to show off his tech. And his tech is going to be what, you know, is going to get him into the school. And the tech he brings is a micro servo or a microbot. And it's basically really tiny versions of the robot he used to fight. And what he does is he has a thing that attached to his head, so he can think and it'll do. So when he shows the first one, you know, he's really nervous. And this is a great scene because this just shows the bond him and his brother have really early in the movie, because he shows this one little microbot and like people start walking away. They don't even care to see it. And he looks to his brother and his brother just says, "Just breathe." And once he breathes, he pulls all the other microbots over. They form this big cube and then a hand, and they make it wave. And he explains the whole thing, and he impresses everybody to the point where not only does Callahan like it, but also the other big inventor of the show in the movie, which is
Alistair Cree.
Yeah, right, of Kraytech, right?
Of Kraytech, yes.
So he offers to buy it from him, but Callahan says, "Oh, he perverts it, or he'll just cut corners, and you don't want to be there. I'll see you in school in September," or something along those lines. But then the fire happens, and Tadashi runs in to save his mentor, Callahan. And after he's out of vision and Hero starts to go after him, there's a massive explosion. So apparently only 2 people, quote unquote, die in this, because we see for the funeral mass, Tadashi's picture, Callahan's picture, and that's it.
Yeah, I love that scene where Hero's presenting himself, and in true Disney fashion, there is a family sense. You know, you have the family that's rooting the youngest one on, and you know, I don't know how to start this. How do I start? You know, I'm nervous. And like you said, Tadashi says, "Just breathe." That's one heck of a science experiment. I mean, really, that is truly great. I love the fact that it's 3D printing to the highest level, using neurons in your own brain itself. That's the one thing I love about this movie is the visuals. We didn't even get to talk about the visuals. We're talking, you know, just the start of the movie, where you get the flyby scene of the city of the city of San Fran, Tokyo. The detail in this movie is so spot on, from the visuals to everything else, that even when the microbots all get together, the visual in that itself is absolutely amazing. I really enjoyed the microbot theory. I really did, because to me it's futuristic 3D printing at its limit. You know, but going back to the actual scene itself, I love the family thing. I really do. You know, looks out into the crowd and, I'm stuck. What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And you always focus on that one person. And he happened to focus on his brother, who he adored, who he looked up to. And all his brother had to do was just mimic breathe and say breathe. And he knew he could get through it. The battle for ownership between Alistair Crey and Callahan really, we find out later in the movie why, but you know, I really wanted Callahan, hold on. I really enjoyed it. You know, there was the I'll take your stuff. Oh, don't take his word for it, because he's just going to sell it on the open market. And Callahan was really looking out for the best in a future student. And this was definitely something that he wanted now, because Hiro wanted, because Tadashi wanted it, or Tadashi had it. Hiro sees what he's got. He wants what his brother has. And this is his chance by Callahan sponsoring him to go into the academy.
Right. And Callahan tells him age doesn't matter, because he's only 14. So, something interesting, though. Did you recognize the voices of Robert Callahan or Alistair Crey?
Yes, Robert Callahan, voiced by James Cromwell.
Yes.
Who was very active in the movies. He was in Babe. He was in our fandom, our other fandom. He was in Star Trek First Contact.
Yep.
He played Zephyr Cochrane. Well, might I add.
Yes, very well. He's also in L.A. Confidential, The Green Mile,
yes,
Space Cowboys, The Sum of All Fears, I, Robot, The Longest Yard. The list goes on.
Yeah, he's a very accomplished actor. The voice of Alistair Crey was actually a voiceover artist by the name of Alan Tudyk, who has been in the voiceover game for at least 10 years or more. Most notable for those that play the game Dragon Age.
Yes.
He was a voice in that. He was the voice in iRobot. He was the voice of, starts with an S, can't think of the name. Sonny, I believe, was one of the androids.
Oh, the one that talks to Will Smith was
yes,
Sonny.
Was Sonny. He was that voice. He was in a series called Con Men about conventioneers and about celebrities at conventions with Nathan Fillion.
Yes.
Famous for Firefly, and now on the ABC series The Rookie, whom Alan Tudyk also starred in, co-starred with him in one episode for this last season. I should know that. I'm a nerd. However,
well, he's also in another Disney movie that you missed. He is King Candy in Wreck-It Ralph.
Was that him?
That is him.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even realize it. You know, these voice actors, they got a talent called voicing. And they change voices so often that you don't really get to it.
Since voicing King Candy in 2012's Wreck-It Ralph, Tudyk has voiced characters in every Walt Disney Animation Studio feature film.
Wow.
Yep. So that would be Wreck-It Ralph. 2013, he was in Frozen as the Duke of Wessington. He was also in, let's see, what else was he in? Big Hero 6 in 2014. Zootopia as Duke Wessington again. Moana he was in as a villager, and as he's Hey Hey. And a villager. Villager number 3, in fact. Whatever.
Not to be confused with Villager number 1, 2, or 4.
He's in Rogue One as K2SO.
Yes, he played that's where he's most famous for me as a voice actor outside the video game world. But, you know, we missed it. Actually, we talked about it when we did the Rogue One podcast, that he was the voice of K2SO.
Yes, he was also in Ralph Breaks the Internet. There is no King Candy, so he's Knowsmore. He's the character Knowsmore, the voice of Knowsmore. 2019, he's in Aladdin as Iago. 2019, he's in Frozen 2 as Guard, a Northern leader, Arendelian soldier. So he plays a bunch of roles in that one. So yeah, he's been very, very active in Disney animated studio movies, which is really cool, in my opinion.
Again, we're in the wrong business.
We most certainly are.
I mean, it's voice acting. Voice acting is tough, but once you get into the groove of it, it could be a very lucrative business.
And he's definitely in the groove.
Oh, yeah. He's been around quite some time.
But getting back to the movie itself, since we went on a huge tangent for an actor that I absolutely love.
We're on the service road, guys, and we're just now getting back onto the main road.
We will get back on the highway here. Just before the explosion, I thought that was a great scene when Hero goes up to his brother outside, and he goes, I know you're going to tell me I could do it all along, and Tadashi goes, actually, I was going to tell you your fly was down the whole time. Like, it just shows the great busting chops relationship of two brothers.
Would it be safe to say that I thought of you as Tadashi in that scene? And I was Hero. Would it be safe to say that's a safe bet?
Probably.
I'm not a gambling man, and if you believe that, I've got land for you to buy. I want watching that scene. Again, the brother gut busting scene. As I did think of you to be the obvious one to point out my faults and shortcomings, and that would be one of them.
Yes. But as with the movie, it's in a brotherly way. So, after Tadashi dies, basically we find out that Hero kind of gives up in life. Because he didn't go to the school. He wanted nothing to do with it. He just kind of existed. And I kind of know that feeling from when my dad passed. You kind of just go through the motions and go through life, and you don't really care. I mean, you break out of the funk eventually, and you realize that the person wouldn't want that up from you, for one. But more importantly, you can't do that to yourself. Loss is going to happen, and even if it's as tragic as this, you kind of have to do what you got to do to move on. And he doesn't really do that until Big Hero 6 comes out of his little containment, because he dropped part of that robot on his foot. And Baymax is used for such great comic relief at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like, what if I touch it? Don't touch it. Don't touch it. And he falls down. And then, even the things he was saying before that were kind of comic relief. The way he was talking and how he wouldn't really listen to Hero. And he as he's laying there, the things are sliding off the shelf. He's like, ow, are you okay? Ow, are you okay? Ow, are you okay? Ow, are you? So, like, he just kept restarting every time he said ow. And Big Hero 6 wasn't that bright at the moment.
Yeah, it was. You're right. He was used for comic relief for most, I would say, for most of the movie, and it was a very lighthearted comic relief. It was very laughable. It was very. That's what a computer would do, right? It would, that's what a computer would do, would be to analyze every step of the way, or yourself every step of the way. And when you say a certain word, it would respond, or when you hit a certain key, it would respond, or would keep hitting the same key, it would respond the same way. The thing about it, like I said earlier, and you hit a point, and it's true, loss hits hard. And for Hero, his decision to go to the academy was fueled by his brother. His brother really wanted him to go. And so with his brother gone, he felt the need not to. He felt, he grabbed the bot that he had, the hustling bot that he had. He knew he wanted to go back to that life, because that's where he was at his happiest before Tadashi put him at his happiest. And he knew it was going to be that way. And then comes Baymax. But that was a very touching scene as well, before that, because like you said, we've all been in that funk, but life goes on, but you slowly but surely get back into the groove. And how do you do that? Is you have friends to help you get back into the groove. And Baymax, at one point during the movie, Baymax says, loss is comforted by friends. Let me call your friends. And he was like, no,
And he calls him.
And he calls him anyway, right? He calls him anyway. But his friends come over and his friends try to